All right. It looks like we are live. All right. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network. I am your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Meckes. Welcome again to another weekly live roundtable talks. We welcome back Reverend Judy Weaver, a trans channel medium. And you are also the Talking Stick Circle in Cassadaga, Florida. Your title in the Talking Stick Circle is grandmother.
I'm the designated grandmother. Yes,
Designated grandmother of the Talking Stick Circle. What we're going to try to do today too, within the hour, if anybody is interested into calling into the show, you can dial in at area code 407-636-1157 if you have any questions or would like a quick reading. And I will put that in the live chat that's going on. So Judy, tell us how is the book going that you've got?
Well, I've got a lot of things going. I think that is the whole key. I've actually written 2 books. My first book is Guided by Your Light, and that, it actually took me 5 years to develop, and it's a 12-chapter workbook on how to grow your spirituality. But my most recent book is called Truth Beyond, and I grabbed it so I could go ahead and show you Truth Beyond. And this is all channeled guidance and information, and I had gone out to Mount Shasta in California and had a really profound experience there and learned more than I never knew even existed. But isn't that the way it is with spiritualism anyway? We're always growing and developing and evolving. And
especially Mount Shasta, that is the playground of spiritual and interdimensional and extra dimensional energy.
It really is. And it's funny because I knew I was going out to California and I knew I was being called to go somewhere, but I didn't quite know where. And I think that that's with a lot of different people, that you really get called to go places you don't quite know where, and you're kind of like toning in and trying to figure out exactly, where it is. Yeah. And it definitely was Mount Shasta. And so when I went there, I didn't really do a lot of research ahead of time. I just really felt like I was going to go and I was going to show up and I was going to go where I was being called. And so I went to the Chamber of Commerce, got some paperwork, and it was so cute. They were talking about the myths and mysteries of Mount Shasta, and and so they alluded to the ETs, and they went ahead and kind of chatted about the city of Telos, and I'd heard a little bit about it, but again, it was just kind of until you really have the experience. You can read, you can try to conceptualize, but you don't have the information that is within you as part of the experience, that's part of the emotion, that's part of that connection to really understand what that means. And I'm very, very grateful that through that visitation there, I did go and visit inside of the city of Telos, and I met these different elders and individuals and energy beings, and they showed me around and explained their world. And that was the point and purpose of this book, was that the Lemurians really wanted to work with me to help share some of that information and guidance, along with just spiritual guidance of what we need in our lives that help us to do a better job, to be a better person, to listen, to hear, to see, and to share.
I've seen there's a growing craze. I wouldn't say a craze, but it seems like there's something growing out there that, or this need of people. Once upon a time, you'd say the word fairy or elf, and they'd look at you like you had 8 ears, or 10 arms. People are now becoming more receptive, to understanding or possibly wanting to know more about the existence of fairies, the existence of elves, the existence of all these elementals that we've had in folklore for thousands
the
of
beginning
years.
of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Since the stories began. And I think that is the reality of it, because we've had all of these different increased energies that are coming in, and every single person is moving into that heightened state of consciousness. They are going through the process of awakening. And as you're awakening, then that veil thins. And when that veil thins, then you are beginning to have experiences. And the other thing that's really happened is that media has changed. You look at all of, we had the sci-fi Dr. Spock and all those. I know I'm really dating myself back there in those numbers, but anyway, Star Trek and the whole bit back in the day. But it's like when you look on TV now, they're always talking about the witches and the vampires and the warlocks, and they've got all kinds of, the superpowers, the superheroes. And the superheroes aren't just mythical beings. They're the young kids that got into something, and now they have this incredible power or gift, and how to be able to work with those gifts, or how to be able to understand, because that's what it really comes down to. When you talk to these children that are coming in, that are all around right now, I'm telling you, it is incredible the levels of information they just have access to, and a level of knowingness that has taken me decades in order to get, that they're just walking in the door and the platter's already inside. They've got it.
Yeah. And as long as, our society doesn't cripple that, for centuries, it seems, or for generations, it seems like, because of, especially over the last 100 or so years, it seems like with the technology that's coming in, and, it's gotten our consciousness distracted, and, you're raising a child, and, you got to do this, you got to do that, the concentrating on the human condition and keep staying alive. Now we got all this other stuff, all these other distractions in our life, that we have a habit of telling children that wasn't so-and-so, or that wasn't that spirit, or that wasn't grandma, or that wasn't grandpa, or that wasn't a fairy, you're just seeing things. Or, it just seems that, if they do see something, we should be open and not just immediately discount it and go, no, it wasn't.
But it's different too, because of the religious aspects. Mean, there was certainly a stronger influence to attend all type of different, and I don't even care which religion you're talking about, but to be a part of. And then a lot of times through those different types of teachings, it was very specific to try to keep the individuals under the leadership of whoever is in that aspect, and then so that they have the connection with God. And so what's really happened is that, we've really, that tier, it's not that people aren't still religious. They definitely are, maybe not as much, maybe more so. I mean, who's really to say, but the personal connection that every individual has access to, that has strengthened. And so when moms and dads really are seeing more, feeling more, and understanding more, then they want to help support their children. And a lot of times that connectedness is really hereditary. And so it follows that female line. I think from what I have seen, again, just from my experience, I've seen that it follows more on the female line than it does the male line. But maybe just the males aren't sharing it yet. Because, when you look in the classes, you look around, it's usually like a 10-1, maybe 10-2. I don't know. It might go crazy, Yeah. So.
It's, and two, I mean, I've been quite, sensitive pretty much all my life, throughout childhood. Of course, there's a lot of parts of my childhood I don't quite remember right off the bat, but I remember.
Did you have a near-death experience?
I left my body.
Yeah. And that usually, that's the trigger. That's the key, is when you've had a near-death experience, then you come back with a different level of connection, information, or access to receive. You have a different antenna.
Right on. Right on. But it also seems once I got into mediumship and got into, being a student in mediumship, through a course of at least a decade, you're opening that door now. You're kind of like unlocking that door and lifting the veil, making the veil a little bit thinner, and attunement of that too is key. Meditation, doing all the exercises required to get into mediumship has definitely helped. And so when I tell people about not fairies, but elves and stuff, I don't know how many are in the backyard, but they're definitely active at night. People look at me, like I said, people look at me like I got 10 ears. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, okay, go home, or whatever. But I'm like,
it's
I
all
know what
part
I
of
saw.
I know it's all part of the elementals, the world of elementals. And the thing is, we have the major elements of earth. So, again, you have your air, and you have your fire, and your water, and your earth, your mineral composition. And under each of those different elements, there's different realms of beings.
Yeah.
There's different energies to help continue to balance the energies of those realms, and to ensure that you really have the water is sustainable and it's clean. And so it's self-management is what it
Yeah.
really is, to the functionality for all of these different earthen elements for our existence.
Yeah. So, I see there's definitely a shift, a conscious shift going on. There's people are becoming more receptive to the idea of spirit, all different types, interdimensional, Bigfoot. The whole thing about Bigfoot and Loch Ness has been around for so long. But yeah, the elementals, and people are becoming more receptive too of just spirits in general, loved ones, family members that have passed. People are becoming a little bit more open to that. I remember times and being in places, like you said, if you talked about that in certain places,
They
it's
would
taboo.
send you, they would lock you up, they would Baker rack you, they would, put you into insane asylums and take away your rights. And, it's a good question. What is schizophrenia? Schizophrenia is hearing voices. Well, are they really hearing voices of other entities, or is that truly an illness? And what are those other voices that may be? And, whether they're benevolent or malevolent,
Exactly.
it's a question.
And one of my first cases was someone who was suffering from schizophrenia. I couldn't diagnose it, but later I was like, wow, I never said anything. I'm like, I think this person's got schizophrenia. So I gave him some information. Go seek this person. He went. She calls me back. She's like, yep, because she was a clinical hypnotherapist and she got a license to practice medicine. She confirmed it. I'm like, oh man. Same thing too with my ex-wife. She told me a story about that too, that growing up, she exhibited behaviors of talking to spirit and stuff like that. And they literally locked her up. They put her in a insane asylum. So
it was not unusual to do that. Family members saying, oh, that's out of the norm, that's different. Where, when you go back a couple of generations ago, that wasn't that odd. It was just that person. It was the wise woman. It was it was the sage person. It was the one who could predict the future, who knew, that's who they went to when they wanted to know when to plant the plants, because, when should we plant the crops, when, what's the best time for weather. It was just those people who were more connected. And then somewhere along the line, it became wrong. And so, people pulled back in and they weren't sharing. And now it's becoming a little bit more open to the option of. And so, listen. And And who doesn't like the angels? I mean, the angels are everywhere, you know, and who doesn't want to know that you can call on help at any time?
Yeah.
And the angels will always come and help and supply you with courage, with strength, with the ability to see or to understand differently, or just to hold you through the process of being in a painful situation, and just help you, so you're not alone.
Yeah. I mean, look at, for years, I think the government's probably still doing it, but for many years, governments used remote viewers to tap in to, see what the enemy was doing, or see what the other country was doing, or whatnot. And, all these psyops and stuff like that. And then, what is it? It's, and then royalty through probably thousands of years. It was only royalty at the time that was also seeking soothsayers and remote viewers and witches and warlocks and all. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
The prophets that would tell them how to make a profit.
But if you were caught like in Poland, I remember back like during World War II, if you were, in Poland, if you were practicing, any type of mediumship and stuff, you'd be hung at the stake. And that wasn't that long ago. So, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you don't have to be hung at the stake. You still can be shunned today. It doesn't matter. It just depends on where the audience is and where you are. And it's about regarding what you say around who you are, really, feeling it out, so that you're not putting yourself in situations. You don't have to be out there and say, oh, I'm a blah, 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 just to create that reaction that you have to deal with. But it's to be there in a loving presence, and then other people may ask questions or not, and they may seek you out or not. But what I always tell everybody is feel it. When you are out there seeking and you're listening and you want to know more, what does it feel like? What does it really feel like? Because your body is always going to tell you when you're following the right path. You have that star seed connectedness, that heart center to the greatest God source, whatever we want to call it, within us. And it will not steer us wrong, but it's about paying attention, listening, and then doing what you're feeling, not necessarily what you want. Sometimes it's like, well, my mind says, but my heart says. It's like, but what does your core say? What is your core really telling you that's the best for you, and making those responsible choices?
Yeah, we've got to pay attention and have that level of discernment on, recognizing the difference between the heart and, the ego. I want to be rich. I want to do this. I want to win the lottery. What's the lottery number? No, it's not about the money. It's about living your life the way you should be living. Or
for the betterment of, it's thinking beyond yourself. That's what it really comes down to. Just, I came into this earth, and, here I am, I'm such and such age, what have I been able to accomplish? What am I leaving behind? How is it better? How can I make a difference in making it better? How can I help to support others so that it's making better for them? It's really about just awareness and choosing to act. Choosing to act choosing to act from the heart for the betterment of. Yeah.
So we got a few viewers out there, viewers and listeners listening in and viewing in at the moment. So for those who haven't or that are either in the chat right now or have not looked at the chat, you can call in if you have any questions for Reverend Judy. You can call in at 407-636-1157. Or if you want a brief reading, a lot of people are kind of, I don't know if I want to call in and get a reading because, I don't.
They might know my name. They might recognize my voice.
And sometimes it can be a privacy issue. People want to be private about those readings and stuff like that. So what I was going to ask you too is if people want a private reading with you and they're watching the show right now or later, my ideas was to the first 3 emails that you get from people who have watched this show today. I'm trying to open it up to like new subscribers, those who have just subscribed. Say, hey, I just subscribed. I'd like a reading, but they don't want to do it on the air. They can email you. So would you like to do that?
I would. I'd be happy to do a free 10-minute reading with the first 3 people. So my email address is revjudyweaver@gmail.com. So REV.JUDI.WEAVER@gmail.com.
Awesome.
And we could go ahead and do a phone or a Zoom, whatever. Just go ahead and reach out, and I'd be happy to.
Right on.
Yeah.
But if
yeah,
anybody
sure.
wants something brief on the air, which is probably about only a couple minutes and stuff like
It's
that.
a few minutes, but the thing is,
Yeah.
really, people don't really have to worry about the privacy aspect of it because spirit's here with them.
Yeah.
And
Spirit,
the thing is,
spirit can discern one.
Yeah, they really discern, and they may talk about something that might be, an emotional issue for an individual, because individuals cry often when they're with me. Personally, I take that as a compliment. That means I've done a good job. Because it's that raw
healing.
truth.
Yeah, it's a healing.
Exactly. It's that raw truth, and they're into that space so that they're allowed to move through that healing process. So yeah. But again, it just really allows you to be in that other space of receiving information, and spirit is, always in a space of just sending love. And I do some really cool meditations. I know we were kind of talking about the fairies a little while ago. One of the meditations that I do, which is really kind of cool, is that I take people on a journey, and then we go ahead and we travel, and different fairies and gnomes will go ahead and pop in and channel.
Wow.
Since I'm a trance channel. Yeah. So I get, but it's like I channel all kinds of different things, but fairies are always like, but like even, just in the last week. Okay. So I did somebody that was from the animal kingdom the other day. That was really cool.
Wow.
I do definitely ETs, Archangel Samuel, Michael, Ariel, Raphael, and then I had Isis come in. I've had, Mother Mary comes in. Jesus was in quite a bit around Easter time. Really came in for those couple of weeks. I haven't channeled him in the last few weeks, but and God source is always just so gracious about coming in on a regular basis and just really sending that love energy. So somewhere along through this, we'll have to do is something, and I don't know what you want to do, but we'll have to do something. Since we're doing live, we can do whatever we want, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And how often are explain to the listeners and viewers what the talking stick circle is.
Oh, this is good. I'm glad you're bringing it up. So this Saturday, because it happens regularly on the first Saturday, but we don't meet during the summertime because people they're always traveling. So this, it's too hot. It is. So anyway, this Saturday, which is the 7th, we'll be meeting at 5 p.m. in Casadega. And so this is called, again, the Talking Stick Circle. And so we meet behind the Andrew Davis Jackson. It's behind the bookstore in the Andrew Davis Jackson building, in Casadega. And we go ahead and I encourage everybody to, bring instruments, but I bring some anyway, just in case, because we open with drumming and with music, and we close with drumming and music. And what I'm going to be doing this particular Saturday is I really want to do, animal spirits were yapping at me. So they want to go ahead and just kind of go around, and I'll give mini messages from the animal spirits with everybody who's there. And so sometimes it'll be 25, 30. We've had up to 50. Sometimes it's down to 10. So, I can't ever know who's going to come or who isn't, but it's a nice gathering, and that's a donation. So this is really kind of my gift to Casadega, going and do that. And I've been doing that since 2013. So a very long time. And then the next time we'll be meeting will be September.
And you said that's on a Saturday, correct?
Yep. This Saturday, the 7th at 5 p.m.
The first Saturday of the month?
It's generally on the first Saturday of the month, but again, I'm not going to do it like I said for June, July, and August. So September, then it will be in October. It'll be so, and sometimes if they do gala days in Casadega, which that often will conflict, then I can't do it. So, which we do have a gala day coming up in Casadega. That's on the 14th.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, gala days in
yeah,
Casadega. Yeah, it's from 10 to 4, and that's all kinds of different readers or different vendors. And Casadega is a spiritualist camp. And, it's the Southern Casadega camp from Lilydale, which is up in upstate New York. Yeah. And I'm very excited because part of my travels during the summer is I'm going to be going to Lilydale, and I'm going to be hosting a couple of workshops up there. Sweet. So, yeah, that's a road trip. It's almost on the Canada border. It's a serious road trip. But yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm honored that they're, going to let me do that. And I'm looking forward to it. Yes, I've got 2 different workshops on the 22nd and the 23rd of July.
My question is with the talking stick circle is I'm sure there's quite a part of it that's sacred, and it's kind of just, it's a personal thing. It's what's not, but I'd like to cover something of it on it, maybe like pre-record something for maybe one of the broadcasts and stuff like that for one of my shows. Not like videotaping the actual ceremony, but maybe videotaping, people's, testimonials, what their experience on it was, a before and then an after type thing.
That would be okay. Native Americans definitely shy away from the camera. That's why there's very, very few images or any type of video of that. Yeah. They just kind of shy away from that. And so, we have a couple of different pictures and things, but we pretty much keep it on the low down. Yeah. Yeah. But no, something like that absolutely would be okay. It's just a way of, it's a sacred space. It's a space of honoring the land. It's changing the energy of that space. People tell me all the time after they come in, after I've been there, oh, I'm so glad you came here. It feels so much better now. It's like, we clear it all out. We make it all wonderful again.
Yeah, maybe doing like a 20 or 30-minute documentary or something like a before.
That would be fabulous.
Interview a couple people beforehand, nothing of the actual ceremony, and then like a test.
Well, and before we actually do the opening and the closing of the ceremony, that's when we're really kind of doing the drumming and all of that. And that would probably be fine, because you're really feeling that energy and setting that space. So, but again, it'd have to be something that have to be planned ahead of time. So people know
really maybe next month or something. Oh, maybe get and kind of maybe throw it on.
No, that's during the summer, honey. Not until September.
Well, it is. Yeah, it's gonna be quite hot anyway. I wouldn't. It would be horrible for me to be out there in the summertime. And you said it starts at like usually 5 p.m.
5 p.m. 5 p.m. Yeah. And we've been meeting inside a lot because we battled with the weather. Florida is difficult, and sometimes it's just too hot or it's just too rainy. And I've got one guest who comes in a wheelchair, and she can't really regulate her body temperature. And so we have to be cautious of health and safety. And we've got a couple of folks that are, elderly too. And so it's difficult. So we've kind of moved to the inside a little bit more for now. Certainly you just can't during summer months. And
yeah.
So
yeah, I'd actually like to do it during the winter. I would around fall when it's nice and cool out and it's perfect. It's like, oh yeah. And a night.
Yeah, well, we could plan something. We definitely could plan something. Yeah, that would be nice.
Definitely. Again, all the listeners out there or viewers, you can call into the show if you got any questions or would like a brief reading. Call 407-636-1157. We have open phone lines. It's only one line, but first caller wins.
But it's open at the
moment. Yep. Not very many people know, but I have a new mixing board. We've been having issues trying to do calls, and I have this new mixer that is just it is the cat's ass when it comes to mixing boards. I learned from another radio show host that does radio up in the Ozarks, and he's like, "Get this." I'm like, "Ooh, it's got a bunch of bells and whistles. It's user friendly. It's got a touch screen. It's got lights. It's got all kinds of really cool stuff, and it works."
Lights,
So,
camera, action. Come on,
yep,
give us a call.
yep. Give us a call. We're patched, and the phone's patched in remotely. I'm like,
Oh, fabulous.
maybe
Oh,
that's
no.
the problem. Maybe I wasn't doing it remotely. It was all corded, and this is all used Bluetooth directly in through the board. So I'm like, sweet.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, I do want to take a minute, if you don't mind. I just recently finished a series of classes, instructional classes through my Heart for Souls.
Right.
I have a nonprofit, a business. And so the first series that I did was Sacred Connection. And so then that was a very specifically designed to help individuals to be able to tap into their own levels of information and to
Yeah.
be able to figure out, how is spirit talking to me, and what is spirit saying, or what am I supposed to do, or different ways that I could go ahead and work on my own development. And we did a lot of different meditation, and we did a lot of different practice techniques that were very specific. And I was delighted with the turnout. The people really raved about it. And then I just finished my first Healing One class series. And again, incredible group that I worked with. It was an 8-week session, and it was Healing One. And the way that I'm working all of the different trainings are that every person that goes through, and I will be teaching 3 different modalities. I'll be teaching the healing modality, then I'll go ahead and do the mediumship, and then I'll go into the channeling. And so that, and again, my channeling that I'm talking about is trance channeling. So that's a little bit different than the mediumship channeling. It's trance channeling. And but every single one of those, in order to go forward the classes, they do need to go through the sacred connection, because if you don't have a connection, then I need to make sure you got the right connection in order
Yeah.
to go through the classes. I mean, I got to be able to know where that is, and you need to be able to at least have that baseline information. So that's your introduction, is the sacred connection. But when I get back from traveling all summer long, August 30th is when the next series is going to start. And so those will be hosted in Ormond Beach. I'm not sure if I'm going to do an electronic one also, but that's in consideration. So if the audience member feels, if you're out there and you're feeling like you'd like to, have this done in an electronic setting, please let me know, because we definitely can work on it.
Yeah.
I absolutely like to do hands-on. I'm not going to disagree, but when we're working electronically, it definitely is a viable option. It's a little bit more difficult to do electronic when I'm doing physical at the same time, because if we're exchanging people and they're working together, depending on what the numbers are, how many screens do I have going or not, or how many do I have for separate, it's just a different concentration level. That's all. And sometimes technology and spiritualism doesn't go together really well. Sometimes they intentionally mess with us.
And when, depending on the energy level in the room of what the teacher is doing, sometimes, when we bring that vibration in and it goes everywhere, it messes with the technology. And I've had that
it goes
happen all the time.
Whites out. I've had, different, when I was doing church, and one of the, I think it was the very first time that I channeled Jesus that came through, all the technology went out. The recording went out, the audio, the video, absolutely everything that was electronic went out. So it's just, we never know.
Yeah.
But we're always open to learn. We're always, willing to walk that path and see where it's going to take us along the way. So
again, for those who are listening, our number went up a little bit. So for those who are listening or viewing, you can call in if you want a brief reading, or if you have a question for Judy, call 407-636-1157. And if you do call in, turn the volume to mute on your video. That way we don't get all this feedback because there is a 15-second delay. So
okay, all right. Well, I want to also mention that I'm traveling all over the state of Florida. Okay, so I'm really working with the Spirit Fest group, and I have been traveling all over. And so where I'm heading in May is going to be going down to the Melbourne, and that's going to be on the 21st and 22nd of May.
I'll be there.
You'll be there. Fabulous, fabulous. Good, good, good. And then June, I'm going to be West Palm Beach.
Be there too.
So, yep. Let's see. When is that one? That is the 11th and the 12th.
Yeah.
And then July, the 16th and 17th. Yeah, 16th and 17th in Jacksonville. And then September will be Orlando, and October is going to be Port St. Lucie. And yeah, so pretty much monthly, I'm just kind of cruising around the state of Florida. I'm doing a lot of out of state travel, but I'm trying to make it back in time for the different spirit festivals because people are learning to follow me there. And I'm so excited that they are really, know that they can come into contact with me. And the other thing that I'm doing is that I'm trying to come in at least a day early, and so that I can book a couple of private sessions on the front side, because individuals, like you said, don't necessarily always want to be front and center. And when you're at the spirit festivals, they're great. It's a, 15, 20-minute reading, but you're kind of in a public setting. And so sometimes it can be a little emotional because it's you're working into that raw healing. But if you want to do a private session, then I can go ahead and book that the day before or stay afterwards, so it allows for that option. Just let me know. I'm good with traveling wherever I'm going to be going. And I'm going wherever spirit's guiding me. That's all I can say. I'll be in Blairsville, Georgia, June 16th and 17th.
Yeah.
And that's going to be at the Inner Awakenings. That's a great area. Blairsville, Georgia is. So if anybody hasn't been up in that area yet, the mountains.
Yeah. It's in the mountains of Georgia.
Yeah, it's in the mountains of Georgia. Yeah. So right along the Smokies there. So it's pretty along in there.
Anything with mountains or elevated topography is always spiritual. Always. There's always energy there. So.
Yeah. There's some really cool places, around, and I'm really excited. In August, I'm going to be going out to the Grand Tetons.
Ooh.
So I know that's been on my list. I know that's another one, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be hosting a group to go back to Peru next March when I go again. So, but I'm only going to take 10 people with me it's going to be a very small group.
The Machu Picchu.
The Machu Picchu. Yeah, that was profound in December. And so I'm really pretty much feeling spirit say, yep. You're gonna go ahead, get ready. So if it's ever been on somebody's bucket list, they can go ahead and reach out. But like I said, I'm only going to take 10 people. That's it. I'm going to limit. I don't want to, when you get too many people, then there's just, everybody's waiting for the bathroom. It's like you can't show up to a restaurant with 30 and expect to get in and out in a decent amount of time. You know what I mean? You're going on these journeys for adventures. The last thing you want to do is just get caught up and bottlenecked along the way, because again, even in these different countries, they're smaller. These roads are so tiny.
Oh yeah, they're very narrow.
They're very narrow. And it's like you just want to be able to come in and out. There's lots of tiny businesses. These are mom and pop places, and you're going in and out of the sacred valleys and the villages and doing different ceremonies. And so it's pretty amazing. So yeah.
Now the one-stop shop for people to want to learn anything or want to know more about everything that you do is your website, correct?
Correct. My website. Yes. And so there's a couple of ways that you can find it. You can do heart4souls.com, heart4souls.com, or else spiritualservices.online. You also can look up under my name, and I have a YouTube channel. And so I've got a number of different videos and meditations, and I do a Heart for Soul Sunday on a monthly basis that I've been doing for a couple of years now. So there's all kinds of those different videos. And my last one that I just did it was really cool. Now it ended up conflicting with a weekend, so I had to pre-record it, which was perfect because during my class, I ended up doing this super cool meditation where I channeled all of these different energies to come in and to specifically work on the various chakra centers.
Yeah.
And so it was, it was just so profound that each one energized and activated as we worked our way up. And of course, God source was the top, of course, and I think it was Raphael was the heart, and Archangel Michael was the throat, and Mother Mary was the third eye. So, there were just these different energies that came through. But these are all free videos that I've got available on my website for anybody to go ahead and to access or to watch.
That's
and,
on the
and
Heart
to
for
help
Soul
them.
one, right?
Yeah. And on the YouTube channel is Rev Judy Weaver. So is what that is for the YouTube channel. And I've got Facebook and Instagram, Yeah, I probably could do more on it, but that's okay. I get something out there. Okay. Now universe, make it work.
Yeah. I for this show, I try to put so much stuff out there to so many different platforms, and it just gets overwhelming at the time. I'm like, man, it's just, you can't keep up with them. It's like you need a moderator, or you need somebody to just.
And you know what? I've tried that process. I've tried hiring a couple of different people, and you spend so much time training them and then redoing it. It's like, I haven't succeeded in that part yet. So, but that's okay. You know what? I'm doing what I love, and I'm doing what God has really guided me to do. And that's really sending that healing energy out to the world. So, should I drop into trance and see who comes in just to kind of give a message today?
Yeah. Let's drop.
Since I haven't done any readings yet, I'll just go ahead.
Nobody has called yet, so I'll tell you what.
Let's see. Is there anybody specific that you want to hear from, kind of, or just want me to see who's going to come in?
See who comes in. Either one of the archangels, or maybe the archangels. Yeah.
Okay, we can go ahead and have a couple of different angels visit. Okay, is what I'll do. All right. And I do work with my gatekeeper Baylot, and I think everybody has a gatekeeper. Some of them are dormant on individuals, but they're there just in case. And the gatekeeper's job is to really help monitor and my physicality through the different shifts of energy. And what I do is I feel like I step aside and I just allow them to come through. I generally keep my eyes closed because it helps me to stay in that concentrated space. And it just keeps it a clean connection so that there's not an interruption. So please enjoy, everybody. All right. So here we go. Baylot here. I just want to say hello to everyone and welcome. It's always an exciting time to have an opportunity to share, to introduce myself, to let the world know about gatekeepers and just the aspects that each of you have access to, of them working with you, supporting you, helping you to learn more about you, and always keep you in a protected and safe space. So anyway, I do have a couple of angels that are waiting who really are excited about coming in and sharing some time. So blessings to each of you. Archangel Michael here. Hello to each of you. You may have recognition of this energy vibration exchange, this interaction with each of you. I am known most clearly or often as a protector angel, an angel to call upon in times of turmoil, in times of strife for protection. I am often recognized by the color of blue and by holding a shield and a sword. My sword is known of the sword of truth, as it slices through and allows mightily for each individual to know and to see and to honor the truth of what is the situation, what the words are being spoken, what the intention is behind the interaction. The shield is always there again to help to ward off and to keep each within a space of protection. To know, for you to know and to understand, you do not journey alone, but are gifted with accompaniment from greater resources than just your physical body. Angels across the universe work in unison or individually. We are in many different spaces and places at the same time. We do not get worn out with requests, but are always eager to be called upon and to provide you with the support. There are many of you who recognize my energy, who work with me often. If you work with Archangel Michael, oftentimes your lives are filled with much more challenges, and the need for discernment is necessary. And this is why I choose to work so closely with, to provide you with more resources for success and growth and expansion within your soul. I have also been known as an angel who is seen in times of disasters, in bad accidents. Some individuals will even share stories of how they were ejected from vehicles instantaneously and found themselves on the side, unharmed and protected. Their lives have sacred meaning, and their mission was not complete. Therefore, it was required to allow them to be within a protected space for the betterment of their divine journey of development and sharing their life thereof. Remember, I am just but one, but always available for the guidance and the direction if you ask of me for. Blessings to each of you. Blessings to each of you. I have Archangel Uriel stepping in. Archangel Uriel here. Welcome to one. Welcome to all. Welcome to this exchange of energies. Each of you are on this a soul's goal mission of growth, of expansion, of enlightenment, of integration, of creation, of more. Each and every experience that you interact with and or emotion that you unite with allows for options of growth for you, within you, expanding for a wider capacity of understanding, for integration, for utilization, for the presence of self and the blessing of the soul that is gifted without for the world to know as well. Your life is filled with color, textures, smells, aspects of. Choose to embrace each with curiosity, with passion, with desire. Curiosity always allows for the opportunity to try more, to do more, to explore without judgment for, but to allow for the development of, to see and to feel what brings the heart joy. Truly embracing the brilliance of joy within the soul allows for the brilliance of you to be shared with the world around you too. In times of great sorrow or unrest, stop for a moment and allow yourself to resonate within and call upon benevolent beings beyond that of your singularity for the support of, the greater aspects of an allowance for you to have access to strength, intelligence, love, peace, and acceptance. True acceptance for who and where and what you are. Be mindful as you journey through this life with your heart first, sharing, believing in the betterment of, wholeness, seeking a greater goodness of, all while being within the joy of the blessings of this world. Blessings to each of you. And I have one more. I have Ariel coming in, and Ariel is this beautiful little light essence. Ariel here, blessings to each of you. Blessings, blessings, blessings. I am always known as the angel of delight. I say that because it is all about sharing light, being of light, being a part of showcasing that light, allowing yourself to go and to play and to do and to grow. Do you realize how much growth happens through the essences of play? Play doesn't have rules. Is that not so exciting? So when there are no rules, then there are no limits, and it allows for your creativity to expand beyond. And when you allow yourself, your mind selves, to get within the creative self, this is where you truly are allowed to integrate into the brilliance of being born, the brilliance of ideas, the inspirations, the aspirations, any and all of those Asians are allowed to come into fruition around you. It is so important to be in the space of joy. When you allow yourself to do joyful things that puts you into that elated space of joy, then you're attracting that higher vibration back into your frequency, which you just continue to feed and expand and feed and expand. And so you're part of creating a new vibrancy and lightness that spreads everywhere, that shares everywhere, that enlightens and feeds those that are around you too. So what I say to you is welcome. Welcome in the various angels. Call upon each and allow them to lift your hearts, lift your moods, lift your minds. Leave the baggage behind. Remember, things create more work. The more work that you have, the more things that you have. Remember that. What is a need and what is a want? Sometimes it's just fun to not have all the responsibilities of all those things, but to be in the space of just sharing the love of and the moments with. Blessings to each of you, my precious one. Blessings to each of you. Baylot here. I just want to say thank you. I hope you enjoyed these different interactions. Many, many blessings to you. Many blessings. Bye-bye. Oh, I was crooked. Oh, well. I don't know where I am. I hope that you enjoyed that.
Oh, I did. Those were really, really, really nice readings.
Oh, good. Just
Thank you.
information.
Yeah, and thank you for doing that for us this evening.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You know, I am very grateful that I'm working with these different energies. And I will say working, I dedicate a lot of time and practice in order to maintain this relationship. But it's not to say that anybody can't have it, but it's up to you to be able to be open to it and to stay within that presence. But beautiful blessings all around for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I tell you, it felt like we've only been on the air for like 15, 20 minutes. Can you believe it? It's already.
Look at
we were on 10 minutes. Actually, no, we were on 15, almost 15, 20 minutes before we went live. It's only. Yeah. We've been existing interdimensionally or extra dimensionally, for that amount of time. It felt like it was only 20 minutes. So, Can you imagine when I first started Conscious Radio Network back in 2015? I started at doing 4-hour shows.
Wow.
4 straight hours. We had one particular guest for the first hour. Then the second hour, we'd have like a little commercial break, and it was live. Everything was live. And I had another guest for the second hour, a separate guest for the third, and then a separate for the fourth. So, and then we'd break it up. If it was a special show, we'd have one guest for 4 hours, which we did. Reverend Ben Cox. He sat for 4 hours.
Wow. Very sweet man. Yeah.
And
again, a lot of knowledge, a lifetime of knowledge in that man. Yeah.
And I tell you, that show is interesting. That was filmed in, I think, no, we didn't film it. I did a couple pictures and stuff like that, but I can remember that like it was yesterday. We were doing it out, in downtown Orlando somewhere. And in the studio, we were, while he was doing, just for him being there, you could see the spirits around him. You could see all these little twinkles, little blurps of blue and violet, and all these lights just twinkle every now and then. You're like, and you'd look, you're like, what was that? You're like, and at the end of the show, he'd like, yeah, you saw them, didn't you? Me and Justin were like, yep. He's like, yeah, they come around.
Yeah, a lot of times when I'm channeling, and that's that last one that I had done, that Heart for Soul Sunday, you could actually see the color change around me. And that's what happens a lot of times. It's like you'll see that orbing, or people go, excuse me, ma'am, you're glowing. And I'm like, it's okay, don't worry about it. No worries. It's good.
Right? That's
It's all
normal.
good.
Don't worry.
Isn't that wonderful that you can see that?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Just tell people don't grab a fire extinguisher during the show, please.
I am hot though. I will tell you that. You know, when you channel that, boy, you cook because you're in a different vibration for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ah, man. Well, we are going to bring the show to an unfortunate end, but once again, thank you, Reverend Judy, for coming on this week and sharing your time with us and sharing the readings with us and the messages from the archangels, Archangel Michael, Uriel, and
Ariel.
Ariel.
Ariel. Yeah. She always reminds people to play.
Yeah. Be happy.
Yeah, be in the space of joy. But if anybody is looking for, again, your own individual reading, I do virtual sessions. I do sessions in person or at the various events. And I do shamanic work. I do soul retrievals. I do light worker activations. I do sound color healing. So that's a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
That's been added in along with regular readings. You know, just come and visit me at spiritualservices.online. I'd love to catch up with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And down in the description later on, or any of our broadcasts, you can go to the Conscious Radio Network website, and it'll take you straight to all the guests who have been on the show. And you're on that page since you were on the show before, and it'll take you straight to your website. And also check out heartforsouls.com. You can check that out. And that's where they can find your book too, if they're interested in your book.
Yep. Or you can go ahead and get it on Barnes and Noble. It's called Truth Beyond, and this is Grandfather Redwing.
That was the tree that you said that was drawn to you at in Shasta.
In Mount Shasta. Yep. Talking to the trees. Yep. I mean, that's the shamanic work. What can I say? You know, Mother Nature, you know, it really is real. So the elementals, all of that. So it
absolutely is. Yeah. Reverend Judy, it's been a pleasure and a blessing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you everybody for listening to eventually listening and watching Conscious Radio Network. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, tell all your friends, family, peeps, peers, everybody out there to tune in once a week, every week. And also keep checking out on our episodes, our special episodes. This Friday, there is a Friday the 13th this month. Woohoo! Check out, we are going to have a special broadcast premiere on Friday the 13th at 8:00 p.m. And it's going to be out of this world. And I mean it, because it's extraterrestrial. So it's going to be the X-Files, definitely. So definitely tune in. Again, thank you. Blessings, Judy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Yourself
Bye-bye.